You got it. Now, yeah, I see it. Okay, you're good.
Okay. 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 We're gonna give folks a chance to sign on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are teeing down to go live. Okay. We're gonna give folks a chance to sign on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are teeing down to go live. Okay. We're gonna give folks a chance to sign on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are teeing down to go live. Okay, we're gonna give folks a chance to sign on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are teeing down to go live. Okay, we're gonna give folks a chance to sign on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are teeing down to go live. All right, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the space. Okay. Kashai, can you go ahead and spotlight me? And we'll get started. Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Bernita Adele White, and welcome to Black Love is the Revolution. If this is your first time in this space, you are in America's Hot Sauce. You are in America's Hot Sauce because Black people are America's Hot Sauce. And in this space, we believe in Black people thriving. Welcome to what is our third edition of Black People Are America's Hot Sauce Presents Black Love is the Revolution. We are so excited to have an amazing event tonight, as they have all been. And this is our counter movement. We're going to first say welcome to everybody who is tuning in on our YouTube channel tonight. Make sure that you subscribe to @Bernita Adele. But certainly, we want to talk about, we want to start by acknowledging there's such a great many things that are happening in our country at this time. And the reality is that uh, we stand with our people in Los Angeles. We stand with our people in Gaza. We stand with our people, oppressed people all around the world. And it's particularly our focus in America's Hot Sauce to ensure that we do everything that we can to create space for 1 billion Black people, Black families, and Black communities to thrive. And in order to instill that thriving in our community, we're going to talk about one of our pillars tonight, which is Black Love is the Revolution, and that the power and positive impact of Black marriages. So tonight, this is our protest. This is our counter movement as there are protests happening all over the world. Our protest in this space to ensure that we are equipped and empowered to fully understand that it is at the root, the whole thriving Black families is the antithesis to the systems designed to oppress us. So we are excited. We have three amazing fireside chats tonight. We are going to touch on everything from preparing in the dating phase before marriage, dating with intention. We are going to talk about love and money. We are going to talk about building those vision and happy Pride, everyone. It is June. I'm excited. This is our tonight. We are going to be featuring our first um, his Black family thriving. Very excited to talk to Algernon and Ronaldo. And then, of course, our main event. Everybody comes out for our all Black husbands panel. four amazing Black husbands who are all happily married to Black women. So with that being said, make sure that you are shouting each other out. Let us know where you're from in the YouTube chat. We also have Kashaya who's going to be running the chat with you all. Talk with each other, interact with each other. We're also going to make sure you get a chance to ask questions in the chat. And then don't forget, after we are going to be, when the formal program closes, we're going to drop the Zoom link in the YouTube chat so that anyone who wants to can pop in for our America's Hot Sauce vibe and tries. And you can come, have your voice be heard, interact, and be a part of the community. So, up first, without further ado, this is a special treat because we didn't know if John Graham was going to be able to be with us live. We even like pre-recorded a segment if he couldn't be here. So I'm so excited that he is here. Kashaya, we can go ahead and spotlight John. And we are going to kick off with our first segment of the evening, which is around upfront healing before the relationship. Okay. Oh, John, are you muted?
I think I'm good. Hello, hello.
Yes, I can hear you now.
What's up, babe? Yeah. How you doing?
John, thank you so much for being here.
Look, we made it. We made it. Had to
Did you
fly from
make the
Dallas to
world
Atlanta.
spin in the other directions to be able to get here?
I moved mountains, or mountains were moved for me on your behalf. Now, I'm grateful to be here.
Well, welcome back to your space. For anyone who was not here, and now for our fireside chats will be about 10 minutes each, and then we will get into our panel. So we are going to be packing it in tonight. For anybody who was here last year, John was part of our All Black Husbands panel in 2024. So we're back because, John, you have been busy. We're going to jump right in to understand. Well, first, let me ask you this, because this is a question that I'm going to ask everyone tonight, is how long have you been married, and what is the best thing about being a husband?
Well, I am coming up on 16 years this September. And I think the greatest part about being a husband for me, or the honor of being a husband, is watching the fruits of my labor provide safety, provide guidance, security, joyous moments, a beautiful journey for my family. And so just being a husband is amazing in the sense that you have that peace with a as far as my wife being the center of the household, chief home officer, making sure that everybody has what they need to thrive. And for me, that enables me to be the best husband.
And I'm even curious, what do you feel that more people would want to be husbands if they knew just how amazing it would be?
I think so. I do believe that there's a lack of representation of healthy and sustainable relationships, specifically marriages. Um, and the ones that do get shown in the spotlight tend to get scrutinized, picked apart, and rooted for the downfall. But I will never sell marriage as champagne and roses, right? This is life is long, and when you choose to do life with somebody, you evolve, you change, you grow, you experience hurt, joy, growth, regressions. There's every human emotion on the spectrum that you're going to deal with within yourself, and then with your partner and your family as well. So I say, the wedding is the starting line. But the work of marriage is making sure that you're growing together. Otherwise, you're growing apart. So yeah, no, I think people would sign up if they understood, I think, a demystified version of marriage more.
Understood. Understood. So then I would say let's take a little deeper dive into Upfront. So Upfront is a more than a dating app for Black people, designed by Black people. I'm going to start by asking you, what is Upfront? because
Yeah.
John is the president and CEO of Marital Technologies, Inc. and Upfront Marital Technology, Inc. And what is Upfront? And considering your background and all of the things that you've already done in your career, why Upfront?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, Upfront is a intentional dating ecosystem for self-aware single Black professionals who are seeking marriage. Um, what's different about what we're offering? Number one, we are a requirement of 30-day healing journey before you ever get introduced to a connection. Additionally, there is no swiping. You are introduced to connections based on compatibility, which is arrived at by way of your interactions with our AI guide, Langston or Zora. And so you have a partner with you from day one, building your profile, uncovering the traumas, the past relationships, the childhood and the inner child work, shadow work, and all of those things as a result of us building this on top of 8 different psychological frameworks rooted in Black psychology. And so we want to ensure that you are the best version of yourself and not bringing brokenness to your forever. And with that, we call it an intentional dating ecosystem in the sense that it's not just about finding your person. It's once you've found your person, we then have the wedding district. We'll have the wedding district, the wedding economy, everything from planning to bakers to tailors. And then as you sustain the marriage, you'll have the legacy district, which will have your life, your legacy planning, financial literacy, financial and wealth management, estate planning, and so forth. And then we also have the mentorship district, in which case the transfer of knowledge from elders and married folks who've been in it for 7 years or more, giving guidance and game to those aspiring spouses. So we are creating our version of Black Wall Street, Sweet Auburn, Winston-Salem, whatever the self-sufficient Black communities of the past had was built on strong families.
Excellent, excellent. And, being the historian that you are, John,
Yes,
could you speak a little bit to the data points that kind of drive your passion behind, or our passion in this work, but kind of drives up front? Because there was a time a whole lot of Black people were married.
That's a fact. Yeah, the data that was driving our desire to even create Upfront was the fact that, between the periods of Reconstruction to 1978, we were the most married racial group in this country at over 85%. Between 1978 and today, we are the least married racial group at just about 30%. And when you look, that wasn't the headline for me, though. The headline was more so what quality of life indicators are correlated with marriage. And when you look at those 4 quality of life indicators, they are household income, educational outcomes for children, health outcomes and access, and then life expectancy. And what we saw was that Black folks were at the bottom of all 4 of those. So unlike most approaches where everybody wants to throw money at the problem, more businesses. Well, when I looked at the historical trend of our strength within the toughest times within this country post-slavery, it was because we had strong households that then had strong communities that then created economic opportunities to provide for the goods and services and needs of that community. So we want to restore community by virtue of restoring our marital rates, which then build communities.
Excellent. Excellent. We love it. We love it. So if someone wants to, if there's a single person in the audience, somebody who is looking to date, how do they find Upfront? What's the process? When does it launch?
No, you start first with upfront.love. From there, you'll get to know more about the platform. You can even have an experience with Langston or Zora and get to know our AIs as they get to know you, and then sign up for early access. We are set to go live with our early access members on July 1. So we are right around the corner. So get in early. There's some perks to doing
timing.
so. Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's also perfect timing. Get booed up in the summer so you be ready for cuffing season at the end of the year.
That's right.
And and I say that facetiously, but it's also part of this work in America's Hot Sauce and Black Love is the Revolution is acknowledging there are a lot of narratives, in social media. You started to touch on kind of the celebrity face of Black marriage today. Is that's not necessarily helping our community, and where we can kind of integrate, so to speak, that we have an opportunity to come to a platform like Upfront, but be attractive to those, to kind of cut through those narratives that are necessarily supporting us. That's where we want to bring this together because somebody out there is looking for cuffing season, but they are also self-aware and a Black professional and looking for their forever person.
That's right. That's right.
So John,
Yeah.
before we part, where can the folks find you? How do we connect? How do we keep in
Yeah.
touch?
Look, we'd love to keep the conversation going. We're on Insta, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Just Be Upfront. Pretty simple. So yeah, give us a follow and then head over to upfront.love to sign up. Don't send it to all your single friends, only the ones you know who are ready to do the work.
Fair. And at the same time, okay, well, let me ask this. This is one extra question before we go. It's starting with Black professional. What is the vision for? We got Black people from all different types of all walks of life. They're not all going to be Black professionals. In that context, what is the vision for Upfront? Kind of like for our collective people.
Yeah. So we're starting with Black professionals in the United States first, mainly because that is where the crisis is by numbers, right? And so when we have proven that model, which we do believe is possible, our goal is to facilitate 1 million Black marriages by 2030. Once we have sufficiently done that work of proving the model, then we'll expand it to other communities for sure.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, John, thank you for joining us today. I'm so glad we got to do this live. Again, make sure that you all connect with John Graham and the great work that's being done with Upfront at Just Be Upfront. We love it. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Appreciate it. Peace, brother.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So as we transition to our next panel, Kashaya is going to bring up Algernon Cargill Jr. and Ronaldo Coxon for his Black Families Thriving. Before we hop in, I'm just going to tell again, everybody who's on YouTube, make sure you shout out each other, tag at or subscribe to Vernita Adele. And everyone tonight, Kashaya is going to be dropping into the chat a special promo code Summer 2025. You can pick up your own Black Love is the Revolution t-shirt from at America's Hot Sauce merch or anything in our collection, 20% off. Welcome, Dr. Algernon.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
So I'll have to start and say this is a special treat because Algernon and I actually went to college together.
We
did. And I have not had a chance of the pleasure of meeting Ronaldo in person. I'm gonna let the two of you just briefly introduce yourselves.
Hi, so my name is, as you mentioned, I'm Algernon Cargill. I am a native of Nassau, Bahamas, and I'm a pediatric emergency medicine physician here in Atlanta.
Hi, my name is Ronaldo Coxon. I'm a native of Baltimore, Maryland. I'm a graduate of UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County for undergrad, Cal State for grad school, and I work in the public sector, which is a little crazy these days, to say the least.
Yes. I can only imagine. Thank you for your service, Ronaldo. So I actually wanted to start and say, I'm exercising a little point of personal privilege. I ran into, so I have to take that back. I actually have met you, Ronaldo, once very briefly.
Yes.
I ran into Algernon and Ronaldo in Harlem several years ago. This was definitely pre-pandemic, and you all were engaged. And I have had the pleasure of kind of following your journey via social media for the marriage, the house, baby number 1, baby number 2. And it's just always been certainly inspiration. And just as I mentioned at the top of the call, excited that this is a special treat. It is Pride. And for the first time, we've always acknowledged, and I'm a huge advocate of the LGBTQIA plus community. We've always acknowledged that Black families look a lot of different ways. There is not one um, normative, but that our advocacy is around the wholeness and the connectedness of our Black families, and that's where the strength comes from. So I actually just want to briefly share with the audience the photo that we included in the invitation for tonight's event. That is when I saw this photo on Algernon Instagram page, I was just, so filled with joy and inspiration. And what jumped out at me, where I'm going to kind of start with the first question, is, I see a beautiful, thriving Black family when I see this photo. What was the process of developing and aligning your visions as a couple for marriage and family?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
So that's a really good question. So we had an interesting journey in that Ronaldo and I met at a party actually. And so I went to medical school at University of Chicago, and we met at an event that I had over the weekend where I brought my friends to meet at a rooftop, and we had drinks and enjoyed the skyline of Chicago, and that's where I met Ronaldo. And at the time I met him, I wasn't necessarily thinking about marriage when I met him. I was thinking about companionship and friendship, and if things went well, we would pursue a relationship. And there was always something different about him. I really enjoyed that he's the yin to my yang. And so I'm a little bit more serious. As people have told me in the past, Ronaldo is very much a comedian, I would say. And we really complemented each other. And we always had fun together. We enjoyed each other's company. And I was actually in a relationship when I first met Ronaldo. Um, and it was a good relationship, but I just knew that I wanted something different moving forward. And I saw something in Ronaldo that kind of lit a fire in me as to this is someone I really want to get to know and pursue. So I was living in St. Louis at the time. He was living in Chicago. We went through the first stage of our relationship was long distance. And Ronaldo would say that long distance actually worked really well for us because we got to know each other from a personal level, as each other as people, and not just sometimes the initial target relationship is lust. And so we weren't as focused on that. It was more so getting to really know each other as people. And so we did long distance for 2 years, I want to say. And then the way medicine works is you get matched at a program. So I matched at a program in California to pursue my pediatric emergency specialty. And California was not either of our initial plan. We had planned to move to New York City. But I was matched in California, and I sort of gave him an ultimatum. I said, I'm not telling you what to do. You don't have to move. You don't have to move to California with me, but I am going to California and I'm not doing long distance. So he made the decision to kind of join me, and we actually lived apart. So he lived in Los Angeles and I lived in the Inland Empire, which is east of Los Angeles. And we did sort of quasi long distance in the state of California. And after about a year of doing that, we progressed in our relationship. We decided that we wanted to live in the same house. And so we moved in together into an apartment in the Inland Empire where I was living. We lived. And we just kind of went through the steps. And there came to a
And would
point
you
where
say,
we kind of outgrew, sorry.
no, I was going to say, and would you say, was it at that point? I know you said that you weren't thinking about marriage, but Ronaldo was. But were you thinking about children?
I was. So I come from a two-parent household. My parents were married, were and are married, and I have three siblings, and I grew up in that type of household. And interestingly enough, I didn't really, marriage wasn't necessarily a goal of mine. My bigger goal was to be a father, and I wanted
Well, you gotta
children.
give him a note. It also wasn't legal.
That's true. That's true. It was not
Mm.
legal in a fashion that we have marriage and children. Um, and Ronaldo, different background. He can speak to that, but he said that he didn't necessarily want to be a father as much, but he wanted to be married. And so I wasn't opposed to being married, but I was more so focused on being a father. And Ronaldo told me that if you want to have children, that's something that we can definitely pursue together. However, he said he needed to be married. And we came to
You were
that
willing
point where,
to compromise?
would you call it compromise?
Reassessing.
Yeah.
Oh, reassessing.
Yeah.
Ronaldo, please.
So when we first met, so you gotta clean this up.
Okay.
You see, slid that in there. So when we first met, we had a mutual friend. We weren't kicking it or anything. And then that same friend called and was like, Algernon's downtown in downtown Chicago on the Magnificent Mile. He's like, what are you doing? So I just got off of work. He's like, you should go hang out with him. So this was like maybe 3 months later. And on that very first walk around the Magnificent Mile, Algernon said he couldn't wait to be a father. And that was a red flag for me because I didn't want kids because kids are a lot of work.
Okay.
But I had literally prayed. I said, God, send me a black man that can communicate. And Algernon expressed all of his vulnerabilities without hesitation. He showed me his big spade, if you will, the things he was most proud of. But he also discussed things that he was frightened of in the future. And one of those was the idea of being married. And I was like, God, you got to be playing. This could not be the one. Because I had written off the idea of having kids. And then as we got to know each other, the idea became less of a hurdle because I knew he'd be a great dad. And he's proven that day in and day out for the last 6.5 years.
Give
He's
it.
a really tremendous father. And I was like, oh, there's some observation here. And I think he's going to be a really good father. So I think we can reassess the idea of having kids. And then marriage wasn't legal at the time. So it was like a pie in the sky concept. And then, oh, my boy Obama changed things a couple of years ago. And we decided to go ahead and jump the broom. But I wasn't going to have kids
Oh,
unless I was married.
we love it. We love it. So I'm gonna jump forward a little bit because this is actually a great segue because you're talking about how marriage was not legal at the time for same-sex couples. You know, your holiday photo, part of the caption was hashtag new normal. Do you see, I see you all as being very public with your kind of family life and your daughters. Uh, do you all see sharing your lives as contributing to breaking down the stigma that exists around same-sex marriages?
I definitely think so. I think that it's hard to envision something that you can't see. And I thought it's important, and I think it's important that we have to show an example of what life can be like for other gay and same gender loving men who want to be a family man, want to be married, want to have children, but don't think it's possible because they've never seen it. And I think that we can show through our example that this is something that's possible in a way that was shown for us because I had a friend, also a Cornell graduate, that had children before we did. And he did it through surrogacy as we did. And I knew that I wanted to be a father, and I saw him go through that journey. And I approached him and asked him, like, how did you do this? How did you go about this? And he gave me the roadmap. And I think it's only not only fair, but I think it's justice that we do the same for others.
And that's where the yin and yang comes in because I didn't think twice about it. I just was throwing my pictures up with my two little babies and him, and I didn't think that it will resonate with my peer group first, like some of my friends who didn't have kids or didn't think that the happiness ever after existed. for a multitude of people. I was like, oh, I didn't know that this was going to become a positive example for others. I just was throwing my pictures up on the gram. I didn't think twice about it. And that's where the yin and yang comes in at. Mind you, he had a whole mythology, and I was just like, I think we look pretty slick in this picture. Let me get these likes real quick.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, last question for each of you in 30 seconds or less. What do you consider to be the biggest benefit of being married?
I'll go first. I think it's the built-in partnership and friendship. Um, Life is hard. Being a father is hard. Being a Black professional is hard. There's a lot of stuff that's hard. And it's really great to feel like you have someone that's constantly in your corner, who's your best friend and your companion and your partner in life, and just someone you can feel like a team with. And so that's the aspect of marriage that I enjoy the most.
And I would say that I think,
Beautiful.
oh, sorry. No, I was going to say that the same thing, but from a different perspective. I grew up with the concept that you need to be self-sufficient at all times. And conceptually, the idea of needing assistance or to be propped up was deemed a weakness. And marriage has taught me that it takes more strength to say I need help than to try to persevere alone and perish in the process.
Mhm.
And in between our two little girls, we had an unfortunate fetal demise where we had a surrogate and the baby didn't make it at 8 months. And I was at my weakest point. I still don't know how I'm still standing, but with counseling, I was able to get back to neutral, but I didn't have to go through that journey alone. And if I didn't have what, 10 years of relationship before, and maybe the 6 or 7 years of marriage prior to that, I may not have fine-tuned those skills of saying, hey, I can't be strong in this moment. I need you to prop me up. And I think that probably has been the fringe benefit of marriage. And you don't have to do all the cooking.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. Well, Algernon and Ronaldo, for anybody who wants to keep in contact with you, follow you on the gram, what is the best way to reach you?
The gram is at Two Dads, Two Ladies on Insta, and that's our family page. And we only put very corny pictures up of us and our two little girls. Elle, who is 6, who's in the Bahamas with the
My mom.
in-laws,
Yeah,
living
my
her
mom.
best summer vacation life, and Grace, who was approximately 20 months.
Right.
Oh, thank you. And I had a chance to at least say hi to Grace.
Yes.
Super cute, super adorable.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you both
obsessed
for
with her.
being here. Any last words?
Thank you for letting us come and speak. We're very appreciative of it.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, as we said, this platform is Black Love is the Revolution, and our goal is to shed light on the power and positive impact of Black marriage and how that it is critical to the progression of our community, not just economically, but from health outcomes, from life expectancy, and to dismantle these systems that are designed to oppress us. So, thank you for participating this evening.
Thank you
Thank
for having
you.
us.
All right, enjoy, enjoy. All right, so we are going to keep it moving on to our next fireside chat. And then make sure you stick around because we are then going to be going to our main event, our all Black husband panel, all Black husbands who are happily married to Black women. And up next, we are going to bring to the stage Francis Clement, who we are going to talk about love and money, the impact of Black marriages on wealth creation. So, as Francis is coming to the stage and gets spotlit, um, I know many of us, we kind of hear out in the ether, one of the number one causes of marriages dissolving is around money. So we are going to get us some insights, some tips on how we fortify these marriages. Welcome, Francis. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent, excellent. So, well, let me give you a chance to introduce yourself, and I'm going to ask you the same question. How long have you been married, and what is the best thing about being a husband?
Well, I've been married 15 years. The best thing about being a husband for me is getting to demonstrate the love of Christ. It's, with all the challenges and difficulties that, I have in my home, it is a blessing to love someone. It is a blessing to grow, it is actually a blessing to, you know, see my faults, see my failures, and to grow beyond that, and to have someone to be with to do that. So from my experience, uh, marriage is about the fight to create something with someone and the power of agreement.
Excellent. That. All right, so let's jump right into this. If you introduce yourself from and a bit about your background, you are a certified financial planner, and like the folks, what does that actually mean?
Well, certified financial planner is an individual credentialed in the highest sense of the word. In order for a person to be considered at the top of their game in the tax world, they have to sit for the CPA exam. In order for someone who passes, who graduates from law school to actually practice law, they have to pass the bar. Um, but a person who's a certified financial planner has gone through the rigors of distinguishing themselves through being seasoned in the financial services arena, and also the rigor of education. So they first have to be, college educated, and then they have to pass a series of testing after they've achieved at least 3 years of uh, service, so to speak, in the financial arena. There are certified financial planners in various spaces. I happen to be self-employed. I've been self-employed for 27 years. I'm the owner of Clement Wealth Management in the upstate New York area, but we're licensed in 29 states, and we assist professionals and business owners with transitioning from financial security to financial independence. Financial security means my employer is taking really good care of me. Financial independence means I no longer need my employer to take good care of me. I can do it myself.
We like to hear that. We like to hear that. Okay, so let's jump right into this topic of love and money.
Yep.
First question, in terms of wealth creation, why should someone get married?
That is an interesting question. I never heard a question like that. And I'm almost scared to answer that question, because in terms of wealth creation, there are ways to create wealth when a person gets married, but I would not recommend that as the first reason for someone to get married. I think that the number one, wealth is a function of how you define wealth, right? Some people say health is wealth. We know that if a person, a male, is married, chances are he'll live longer, right? There's value to that. Can you put a price tag on having extra years of life, right? So there are, certain significant benefits to marriage. But I would say the best thing about marriage is vision to create something that's meaningful and unique. And again, the power of agreement. So it's usually invisible things that are the importance of marriage. And the money is really there to help you fulfill the vision. So when I do planning for people, I start with vision first. I don't talk about money in the first meeting with people. I talk about, what do you want? What's important to you? What do you want to achieve? Why are you on this planet? Right? So we talk about vision first. And then we start, in another meeting, we start talking about the dollars that can help the vision actually happen. So again, it's a long answer, but I wouldn't focus on money for starting marriage. I'd focus on a vision first, and the money is there to make the vision a reality. And the bigger a person's vision, then the money can follow to create that vision and make it happen.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So start with vision. Um, I imagine then that question then makes me kind of think about the teamwork required in order to achieve that vision. Um, what are some of the benefits of teamwork in a marriage to not only achieve the vision, but to create a legacy that can then be passed on to other generations?
Absolutely. So uh, there's a scripture, how can two walk unless they agree, right? One of the challenges with, I think, our culture is that many of us have given up on the significance or the power of agreement, right? And if one loses hope there, then, to build something by oneself, it's tougher, right? There are certain factors that you will find with those who are poverty stricken, certain consistent factors. There's some people locally here in the upstate New York region, Rochester area, who wrote a book about this, some common factors. One of those common factors that we saw is that there's no high school graduation. That's a contributor to poverty. Two, that that an individual is raised in a single parent home. Three, that leads to the lack of fathers in a home. The next thing is a lack of ownership of one's home. And then last is a lack of savings. Those 5 contributing factors affect, an individual situation. But again, that single home where there's lack of agreement, how can you build, right? The moment you agree with someone and you agree to live together, automatically your costs tend to go down, right? Because instead of now paying 2 rents, you can pay 1, right? And then hopefully one day you can pay 1 mortgage if you work together, right? And so there are ways to also help with collaboration. Like, my wife has never worked a day, in her adult life. She cooks, she saves the family a ton of money. We also eat better. I enjoy my wife's cooking more than restaurant food. I prefer to eat at home, So, and I know I've gotten healthier because I'm married. When I was single, I ate out all the time. It started to affect my health. So there's so much power in collaboration. You spend less, or you can spend less. That's possible. But the point is, agreement can create so many things. And we see examples with corporations. We see examples in the legal space, with, building of law firms, accounting firms. If you do things by yourself, it's a harder climb to where you ideally want to be.
Understood. Understood. Okay, so we're gonna go. Last question is thinking about those who are currently dating or single. What is one financial takeaway that you could give for those who are dating or single to prepare for marriage or coming together for marriage?
Seek out advice, period. Find individuals who are successfully married. I stayed in the home while I was a student at the University of Rochester. I had the fortunate opportunity to live with a family for a season, a gentleman who was the minister of music at my church. And I had never in my life been in a home with mother and father, both African American. They had 3 children, and they're married to this day. I think they're married probably about 45 years now. And it was one of the best eye-opening experiences I have ever had. And I was 18 at the time. And I'm sorry, no, 20 at the time. And I, till this day, will find myself responding to my children in his mannerisms. You know, he was very, thoughtful, gentle, understanding guy, slow to speak, a prayerful guy. He taught me so much. And to this day, it's invaluable to me. So I would seek out advice from successful people, and counseling is also a big plus.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Well, thank you, Francis. Thank you for being with us this evening. As you part, if someone was interested in connecting with you, what would be the best way to be in touch?
They could reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm not internet savvy. I've got employees that run my LinkedIn. I don't, I'm not savvy. But LinkedIn is probably a good place to reach out, or they can call us at the business line, get on my calendar and, talk to me for a moment just to learn a little bit about what we do here. I'm at 585-248-4758. So one of my team can schedule a brief meeting so that we can talk for free,
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you, Francis. Thank you for being with us tonight. And our impact this evening is to sustain more Black marriages as they navigate through the twists and turns of the marital finances. So thank you for being with us tonight.
You're welcome.
Excellent. All right, everyone. It is time to go to our main event. Thank you for your patience. Again, in this space, we are America's Hot Sauce because Black people are America's Hot Sauce. Tonight, this is Black Love is the Revolution. I'm your host, Vernita Adele, who is the founder of Black People Are America's Hot Sauce. We are coming to the stage with Richard Olson, Chris Chapman, Rocky Cousteau, and Jordan Edwards, who are this go rounds panel of all Black husbands who are happily married to Black women. We're going to talk about marriage mindset tonight. So we'll get those gentlemen spotlit, and we are super excited to dive into this conversation. All right. Welcome to the stage. Welcome to the stage. Hi, Jordan. Oh, you're muted.
How's it going?
I'm well. How are you?
Pretty good.
Chris,
Pretty good.
welcome to the stage.
Hey, greetings, Queen. Thank you for having me.
Excellent, excellent. And I think we're going to bring up Richard and Rocky as they come on, but we'll get started with the two of you. So again, this segment, this has been like kind of the signature of Black Love is the Revolution. 3 years ago, back in our Clubhouse days, we had our first all Black husbands panel, speaking to the power and positive impact of Black marriages. What I love about this panel is that we have all of the full range. So we have Jordan here as our newlywed. We have Chris, who has been married the longest, I believe. But I'm going to jump in with you first, Chris, and ask the question, how long have you been married, and what is the best thing about being married to a Black woman?
Ashe. So let me I just want to acknowledge in the spirit of this sacred space that you've created, Sister Vernita and Sister Kashaya. I want to thank you all. My brother, Francis Clement, aka Mr. Savvy, that brother was one of the most savvy, sophisticated kings I've met virtually in a moment. So I just hopefully he reframes in the future. Man, I see you, King. I was just taking notes. I just want to just salute to you. The two brothers, Algernon and Ronaldo. Beautiful, beautiful story. Thank you for shining a light on those kings. And then my other brother, John, I don't want to leave him out, in the spirit of the 30-day healing journey. Oh, I wish I would have gone through that in the spirit of that healing journey. With that being said, it is an honor to be in virtual space. I'm Chris Chapman, son of Herbert Joseph Chapman and Deloitte and Shaw, married 29 years to an extraordinary queen, LaShawn Denise Route Chapman. Man, what is one of the greatest blessings, gifts, is being able to find a life partner that you lock in through those seasons of life, through the fullness of raising children, to bearing a parent, to earning degrees, to buying a home, to going into marriage counseling. Like, it is the fact that you've conditioned yourself to love unconditionally with someone who represents and embodies home, hope, and our legacy. And so I am honored to have and be married to LaShawn from South Central LA, relocated to the Northern California in the Bay. But all that to say, yeah, I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for that extraordinary soul sister that has now blessed us with 3 extraordinary sons, 1 grandson. And so, yeah, that's a little sprinkle in response, Queen. I appreciate the question, and I'll pass it back to you.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. I love it. Chris is the founder and CEO of Kingmakers of Oakland and is changing the lives of our young people. So excited for you are here. I'm actually going to jump next to Rocky Kuso. Tell me I pronounced that correctly. Please introduce yourself. How long have you been married, and what is the best thing about being married to a Black woman?
Yes, excellent pronunciation on the last name. I have been married for 8 years. We've been together maybe 10. And Tampa native, UF grad. I know some people were giving their school shout outs earlier, so I'll throw that in there as well. But based in LA now. And I apologize. What was the additional question?
Oh, what is the best thing about being married to a Black woman?
You know, just someone who really understands where you're coming from and what you as a Black man have to walk, or a little bit of a sense of what we have to walk through in this journey. I know some brothers seek solace in other cultures because it seems like maybe less friction. But what I would warn them is there tends to come times, and I see it play out sometimes with athletes where when it's not so good, I mean their world just gets torn apart a bit. Not to say that can't happen in Black marriages, but I see it in a lot less of a vicious kind of a way when you're with a Black woman.
Okay, come with it, Rocky. Come with it.
I don't know if I described that well, but you know.
No, we're gonna keep it. We're gonna be sure. We're gonna keep coming.
Yeah, we're
gonna keep going around the room. We're gonna come back to that. I'm gonna jump to Richard Olson. I'm gonna throw in. So Chris mentioned 3 children. Richard Olson, would you introduce yourself? How long have you been married? How many children do you have? And what is the best thing about being married to a Black woman?
Hey everybody, Richard Olson. I'm the founder of the Black Think Tank community. It's an honor to be here. Fanita's like phenomenal. Just want to say that. I think that she is just doing big things, especially with this American hot sauce. So I appreciate that. I think the first thing is I have been married for 15 going on 16 years. I have 9 children. 5 of them are adopted. I have to whisper a little bit because I don't want them to say that because we don't use those words in here. So I had children before I met my wife, and then she had children before she met me, and then we have 1 together. So it's a hybrid of a bunch of children together. But there's a big need. Just very, very quick shout out. There's a huge need for us to go back and get our children because they're locked in the system. And that's one of the things that we have a big heart for. And we actually did that. We adopted a child and then all their siblings. So it's huge. So best thing about a Black woman, I don't know if you really want me to go down that rabbit hole, but I just want to say they are gorgeous. They are phenomenal. They are impactful. They're supportive, but I think the most important thing, I'll make it quick, is that I can go to her and have a peaceful place to be myself while I'm going out there to, slay dragons and do big things for the Black think tank community and being a consultant and so on. She can give me that peace. Even with all the kids and all the stuff going on, I can try my best to do everything I can, but being with her, I'm just at home. I'm telling you, and everything she does. So I think that she's a phenomenal woman in every sake of the word, and especially in the way that the Bible says it. So I'll yield.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, Richard. All right, let's hop over to Jordan Edwards. Jordan, feel free to introduce yourself. How long have you been married, and what is the best thing about being married to a Black woman?
This is Jordan Edwards. I am from Brooklyn, New York. I'm currently living in Harlem. I work as a sourcing specialist, and I do photography on the side. The best thing of being married to a Black woman, I would say, is the shared experience. Even though she's from Canada by way of the Caribbean, and I'm African American, our roots are based in a similar struggle. Also, there's certain strength and resilience about being with a Black woman that they have. And I was raised by a single Black mother, and well, actually she's Black, but she had a similar strength and resilience as well. And it's something, just something to keep going.
Okay. And how long have you been married?
I'm sorry, I'm married for. I'm sorry, I make 2 years next Monday, and I have a 9-month-old.
Yay. We love to see you.
Congratulations.
My family.
Thank you. Yeah, we met during COVID in 2020. The shutdown didn't stop us. We found each other and got married. I'm 42. I got married at 40. So it was a journey to get there. I was single for a while before that. And I felt like when this finally happened, I finally made it. I accomplished something. And also, I feel like I joined a club. Like all my friends from like high school, college, they're already married, 2 kids deep. All teens, still like, welcome to the club. And it's just different. It's just a different experience.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Jordan. Okay, so let's jump right into this because we know we are tight on our responses. All responses are 30 to 60 seconds. And we are going to jump right in. Okay, so we kind of set the stage already. A lot of positive aspects. We are going to talk about the challenges as well. But first, I want to say, can we talk about the decision to be married? And it's for whoever wants to jump in. We'll take, a couple of responses. What positive difference in your life has the decision to be married made versus choosing to remain single?
This is
Anyone
Jordan.
wants to take it?
I'll start for me. It was recent. The rest of you guys might forgot why they got married, but it's for me, it's recent. I chose to be husband because I wanted to do things the right way. I wanted to do things the right way. We got married first, then had our daughter. The positive change was the feeling I get to watch everything manifest. Look at my wife, looking at my daughter. It just feels good, like something I achieved.
You choose. Okay, I see Richard with your hand up.
Yeah, I just, of course, be under God, but the other part is just I don't want to. I know it's the easiest answer, but it's the most obvious answer to me. I don't want to sit there and be fighting for somebody to lay next to, somebody to be, dealing with the whole dating scene, trying to get to know them, the lies, cheating, the manipulation, the hustling, all that stuff. I don't want to deal with that at all. So I think that the greatest benefit is just I don't have to deal with that anymore, and I found somebody that I can be compatible with and actually partner with. So
I'll jump
Okay,
in.
beautiful. Go
Is
ahead,
that
Chris.
cool? Right on. Give thanks. I chose, I was given the opportunity to really select when I found, was blessed to meet LaShawn. And her spirit, what she represented, it grounded me. In a way, I would get too close to the, kind of the fire, so to speak. And sometimes I get too close, maybe to the moon, where she provided this sense of equilibrium, which is a gift. She increased my capacity to love, to fight for my sons, that which was greater than self. And in that same spirit, the commitment to being married helped develop my sense of being able to serve. And so for those kind of characteristics, I'm a better man. And I pay tribute to her. And I'll pass it
Excellent.
to Rocky.
Excellent.
Yeah, I also married at 40. I definitely took my time. I wanted to make sure that I made a good choice, which I absolutely did, and my wife Micheline. I had a wonderful blueprint from my parents, and so I already knew going in the power of being in a great relationship and having someone who complements those areas where you might not be the strongest in, and whereas you can be strong for that person in the areas where they might not be. So it was just phenomenal. And knowing that you're really building a life, and I knew that had I waited any longer, I probably would be too stuck in my ways to even want to. So I met her at the perfect time, and so much so till I changed my plans, because I was supposed to be leaving LA, because I was like, no one goes to Hollywood to look for love. I was like, I got to get out of here. And that's right when I met her, and she changed my whole plan. And that was one of the reasons I knew that something was different. The fact that I was willing to make a change in those plans.
I love that. I love that. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I met Rocky and his wife Mimi last summer in Los Angeles, and within 30 seconds, I was like, I need you, Rocky, to be on our all Black husband panel. No shade to anybody else on this panel to date. Maybe only second to my father and my brother. My parents have been married for 54 years. My brother has been married for 23-ish in there. It was the joint email address for me. So I was vending at a conference last summer in Los Angeles. Shout out to True Visionaries, Monica Floyd. I had our table for Black People Are America's Hot Sauce merch. Rocky was in there, was joining the tribe. And then I saw it was like, what's the email address? Mimi and Rocky forever.
Micheline and Rocky at Gmail. Yeah.
And
Now
as
everybody's
I
got it.
pointed that out, no, shout out to everybody.
Yeah.
As we were talking about that, I mean, this man was walking around with hearts in his eyes, just oozing out. And every time you saw them together, it was just the oozing of love. And so we just appreciate, this like a very public display of affection for his wife. And I was like, you have got to be on this panel.
Yeah, because it's always a team effort, and the only reason I ended up there is they needed a hand, and I was like, all right, I'm on it. And so we approached most things with that concept. I mean, most of all of our friends or the productions that we do, it's usually a team effort, always.
Yeah, we love to see it. Love to see it. Well, actually, let's talk a little bit about team. So I'm gonna shift gears just a little bit. Again, whoever wants to answer. There is, we talked a little bit about teamwork in the last segment, but one of the things that I find is gets misconstrued in our society today is putting your spouse first and maintaining that teamwork, particularly once children are a part of the household. and maintaining that order of your marriage comes first, your spouse comes first. For anyone on the panel, how do you navigate keeping your marriage first or your spouse first, particularly as family obligation came, and it might not just be children, it could be parents, aging parents, it could be careers, it could be your business obligations. How do you keep your marriage first?
I think this is Richard. I think the biggest way that we've done it throughout the years is making sure, I mean, that the community that we're around respects our marriage. When we first got married, they didn't. I'm the youngest, and she's the youngest female, and in her family, and they didn't really respect the marriage as a whole. So we had to tell them, mother, father, friends, children, everybody, that we got to respect the institution of our marriage. And they used to antagonize both of us about making decisions like, well, you got to check with your husband, you got to check with your wife, you got to do this, and we got to stop that. So I think standing up for your values really helped us to set the stage for everybody and the tone for everybody that they have to respect our marriage first. And even with our children, when they kind of divide us, even when we are on opposite ends, we come together as a unit to united front to tell our children what's going on, and that is a struggle, but we have done it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Anybody want to add?
Yeah, for me,
go for
go
it,
ahead.
King. No, go for it, Rocky. I'll go next.
I would say, it's just kind of built in. It's not even something I have to give that much thought to. I'm the oldest of my siblings with my parents, and she's the oldest in her. So I think we're already used to taking care of things when it comes to family, but we do it as a team. So, for instance, I'm in Tampa right now, just to provide some support for my mom, and my wife set me up to be able to come. So it's not even that we have to put each other first. We know the other person comes first, but we also are already ready to approach. So if we're one, we're approaching the rest of the world as one. So it's already inherently built in, I guess I'm trying to say.
Excellent.
A couple of things, although in a slightly different take. And I just want to acknowledge my brother Richard. I'm adopted, Richard, so I just want to say, brother, in the spirit of who you are and whose you are and your story, even in this brief moment, salute to you and your family and your queen, King, for what you continue to do. Which leads me to, for me, we are who we see. And I didn't come, although my adoptive parents were awesome, they divorced early. So I didn't necessarily have I didn't have kind of role models to then get me to this point. So I'll say from that, actually, I have to make sure that I take care of me in the spirit of when I'm at my best, meaning putting the oxygen mask on myself, then I bring that fullness, knowing that we have vows. If you don't stand for something, you'll go for anything. So we have these agreements, but when I'm out of balance, then that can throw her out of balance too. So I just say for me, I always got to make sure I continue to do my work and not expect her to do what I need to be doing for me. So I just want to say when I'm at my best, then then it's sky's the limit. I think the other aspect in the spirit of how do you keep a marriage, 29 years, we've gone through everything with love and grace, but listening and really learning how to listen. And really, I think in probably the first half, I didn't know how to listen very well. I was already responding to what she was going to say. And I really had to listen to tune down all of my own trauma, inner voice, what I was going to say, how I was going to fix to just be. And that took a minute to then know how to listen and then know how to speak from feeling versus other aspects. So those are the sprinkles in the spirit of how do you keep your marriage first is taking care of self, being able to listen, and standing for shared values.
This is Jordan. For me, well, obviously,
Jordan.
I make year two. Well, I complete year two of marriage next Monday. So marriage is still for us front and center. What even more front and center is our daughter. She's 9 months old, and right now she's the centerpiece of everything right now. She's just crawling right now. So everything is still new. So the marriage is the front and center.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so we're gonna go. We got a couple more questions. We want to help in providing your experience so that others can learn from our experiences. Next question is around, and Chris actually started to touch on this. He talked about listening. How do you overcome difficulties in communication?
I'll start. One of the things that has been key for us is we have a phrase, and for us it means, so we know sometimes we'll give each other, people can give another person a surface answer, but then when we use our phrase, that means you could be completely honest with me without regard of hurting my feelings or anything of that nature. And so when we use that, then it's kind of like that trend. We listen and we don't judge. It's like our version of that. And it's helped tremendously because I let her know early on, I'm not a mind reader. I don't want to play these games of trying to figure out what's wrong. Just communicate with me and let me know up front, and I'll do the same. And so that's worked exceptionally well for us.
Excellent. I'm sorry, you might have seen my facial expression as someone who has been expected to read minds. Thank you for being willing to communicate what your needs are.
Absolutely.
You know what? I'll just quickly say, we all had prep calls before tonight. Thank you everybody for indulging me. And I can't remember who it was, but I shared with somebody how part of my as much as this is about our community, a part of the impetus is that the first all Black husband panels, was inspired by a breakup that I went through, and wanting to create a space for people who were dating and single to hear from those who had successfully gotten married. So shout out to the willingness to communicate your needs. It does make a difference. Thank you. Who else wanted to?
I think overcoming difficulties start in communication, starts with honesty, and providing a safe place, that just a place where you can go and kind of building off of what the brother was saying, just having a safe place where you can go and be honest. You ain't gonna like it though. That honesty hurts. It hurts bad, especially when they say, "Hey, you ain't doing this," and you like, "Dang, I thought I was doing well." But you're still not. They want you to do better, or they want more, or they want something different. And I think that honesty really, really helps a lot. And even though I may not be able to give it to you at that time, at that moment, at least I know how you stand. And that's even more, at least for me, more important than anything. That's how I can overcome some of the difficulties that come along with the struggles that we have, and vice versa for her.
Excellent. Thank you, Richard. Someone popping in? Okay. All right. So then let's go to the next question is so we kind of talked about overcoming difficulties in communication. To take it to the next level, if you ever get to the point where you don't like your wife, or you're like, can't do it, I'm done, over, how do you push through and get back to the love?
Yeah, I'll jump in. And we've been I mean, I have an extraordinary wife in the spirit of her grace. And as we've gone through some of those very difficult moments, actually my grandson is 3. And one of the greatest testaments to our love and commitment actually has been our sons. And I'll say my greatest accountability partner when you do work with other people's children is when you have your own and they've modeled and listened to the point where they're able to kind of check you or hold you accountable has been the greatest blessing for both of us. I'm not the same. I met my wife when I was 26. I'm 57. My wife was 24. And if you think you're the same person you were when you were in your 20s, that you're going to be in your 50s, you're going to evolve. And sometimes those evolutions are literally the extreme yin and yang. And yet you need something at times to kind of continue to get you through that murkiness. And for us, children were necessary, but still insufficient. As they've gotten older, they've been better for me in the spirit of coaching, which has been a gift. But counseling has been another way, I'll just say, but setting it up before something actually happens. I think just in the spirit of proactive, because we change and we evolve. I'm forgetting what the question is, but I'm just acknowledging. Go ahead.
No, just that if you ever get to the point where you're like, you don't like your wife, you're ready to throw in the towel, how do you stay the course and get back to the love?
I think the date, you got to continue to, and I think part of when you're raising children, in particular, we had three, when our sons were all teenagers, there was a lot going on. Then you're taking care of a parent. Like there could be times where the last thing that you actually are taking care of or giving time is one another. And so how do you hold that sacred space or build in those times during the complexity of parenting or supporting family? And so just having that sacred space. So I would say, those rituals and routines when you kind of, I'm not feeling you right now. Being a part of a community has been extraordinary. Having, counseling has been another savior. But those are things I think that have, I'd say we've kind of gone through 3 iterations and now we're on just a blessing. When you get on this side now and you're a grandparent, to have to gone through what we've gone through and then to be able to be where we're at is every day's a honeymoon, really. You just want to wake up and be like, all right, we got it because we have each other. But there was, we had to go through a few things to get there. So hopefully some of that made sense in the spirit of the audience and y'all, but appreciate the question as well.
Thank you, Chris. Anybody want to add?
Yeah, I'll just say we've been there a couple times, and I love my wife with everything I got, but sometimes it was work. It was work. I know that she's been there a couple times over the years, and some of it was the foster care because we had to, and then an adoption because they were being divisive, going to the court system's divisive. Kids were being divisive, family were being divisive. And then sometimes life was being divisive. So getting to the point, the biggest one that really helped us out a lot is communication and recognizing what the actual problem was. And sometimes you have to put your feelings aside and then listen to her and actually actively listen. So I took some time over the years to try my best to be sometimes a bigger person to make sure that I can actually hear her. Because sometimes it just takes some work to hear somebody. You got your issues, you wrong, and you have to communicate. I think that really, really, really helps. If I was just to say one big thing to get us back where we were, it's communication. Strong communication and actually listening.
Excellent. Anyone else want to add? Okay.
Yeah, I definitely want to concur on that strong communication because one, you should expect it. There have been, whether it's every a few months or a few years, there will be those moments. And even the 7-year itch, that's a real thing. But I think for us, it was always just kind of remembering why we wanted to marry each other in the first place. Never forgetting to still date each other. We also had family support systems. So like in LA, we've got a group of cousins who are all married, and we would all get together and discuss things because she had some family friends. Actually, her aunt put it together. with some family friends who would mentor us, and so we would do it through that group as well as some religious groups, and so it's just good to have good support systems around you of other married people who can relate, and even our single friends are all the types who root for us as a couple as well, because I think it can be damaging if you have those single friends who miss having you as a single person and might want to bring you back. But so luckily we've been fortunate enough to not have those types of people in our circles. And but really just taking time to talk it out, because one thing for me, I never use the D word. And I try to give myself time to think about moments. Like, I try not to respond in the moment. Like, if it's a high energy type of a moment, I sit on it, I sit with it, and I'll even tell her, I'll say, give me a minute or something like that, where let's readdress it in the next day. Like, I don't even want to address this in a high energy. But the other thing too, I've always said from the beginning of our relationship, I love you enough to let you go. So for me, that's like to let her know, if it's ever not working for you, you can let me know and I'll leave you with love. But that being said, it's like at the end of the day, I'm always still leading with love, even if it's a conversation of we're assessing if we still should be together. It's still from a place of love.
Excellent. No, thank you for that. I mean, that's real. That's real. And part of the premise behind that question on, getting through and moving back to the love is that I would like to ask the panel maybe your thoughts on what would you share, particularly with our young people, when social media everywhere we're getting bombarded with a lot of messages that are counter to the power and positive impact of Black marriages, whether that is the Atlanta housewife who gets married and then is divorced a year later and whose husband has now been deported by ICE.
I know one of those
Or
couples personally.
shoulda stayed married. At least you still be in the country. Or there's also a lot of Black celebrities that haven't gotten married, but they're in these long-term relationships. Rihanna's on baby number 3 with ASAP Rocky, no ring in sight. And this is what the next generation is seeing, being impacted by. Anyone, any words or thoughts on what you might share with our young people, the next generation, around this is what you're seeing in the media, but the power and purpose of pursuing marriage?
It's kind of what someone said before. Is have a community of people who support you. Other people who are married, other people who support other people who support your family. With my wife, she's a twin. They got married right after we did, so that's like a built-in support system. And like my friends from high school, college, they're all way ahead of me in marriage. So that so like there's a lot of positivity. There's like when I got married, it's like welcome to the club. There was I can't think of any negative person in my life that's like that is saying no to this. So and it feels great. So find others who are happily married or those who support your marriage, and just that's your community, that's your circle.
I think it just takes you only need one. Despite everybody, you look at all the negative publicity, Black women versus Black men, blah blah blah, all this craziness. You got to look at, you only need one person to say yes. So you might think, or you might experience, it might have in your world where it might seem like it's, adverse in one way or another, but you only need one person to say yes. You only need one woman to be with. So just keep on going. And I think strongly that you just need to move around if you're not having a lot of success. Moving around actually makes a bigger difference sometimes, because you might, meet somebody you have differences, and you might complement each other. So I think it is hype. If you look at the number of Black folks who are actually married and stay together. You'll see a tremendous amount of them actually stay together, and you'll see them. You'll recognize them when you're around them. Why they're together. They work together. They can breathe each other. They can feel each other, and so much more. So.
Love it, love it. Okay, last question. I told you this time was gonna fly.
Well, let me
For
touch on
each
that
of
one
you.
too,
Oh,
if
go
I
ahead,
may.
Rocky.
Definitely don't get caught up in, especially celebrity marriages, because there's that public persona, and we never really get to see behind the curtain sometimes. So I wouldn't even, don't even start there. But then too, you can also train those algorithms to show you more of what you want to see. And I think that's the part people forget with social media. So if you're consuming junk, the algorithm's going to show you more junk. But if you are selecting quality information and things of that nature, then that's what it's going to show you. So that's important as well.
I like that. I like that. That's good practical things for my niece and nephews and everybody and everybody. You know, when it was, I think my nephew might have been 19 and he was already, oh, I'm not good at relationships. I don't think I'll ever get married. I says, you gotta turn off that Instagram. Like, come back to the fold. Okay, so last question is what is one lesson that you would share with our community that has helped you sustain your marriage? And let it be something different than what you already said.
First and foremost, I would just say get back to courtship and take your time. Because if you're planning to do it for life, that certainly requires uh, very intentional dating, um, and really discuss a lot of things. Discuss finances, family, trauma, talk about it all so that you can try to get a sense of what you're stepping into with that person. And a lot of that won't reveal itself in those first 6 months, because in the first 6 months you tend to be meeting the representative. So, put in enough time to where you really get to know each other before you take that big step and jump that broom. And I'll say, because my wife and I didn't do that, but we've been fortunate enough to know. We've just been fortunate enough for it to work out. But I could see while we were going through it, we were still discovering those things about each other. But, we were still able to grow through those, whatever those things were.
Excellent, excellent.
I
Thank
think.
you, Rocky, so much for being here. Go ahead. Was that Chris next?
Oh, that was.
I'll go after
Richard.
Brother Richard.
Just real quick, what kept us sustainable is to maintain what we've been going through is just our love and our values, and that's really kind of kept us together. But the bigger part is that we love. Just don't forget to laugh. I know it sounds corny and cliche, but don't forget to laugh. Don't forget to have fun. Don't forget to dress up with each other. Dress up for each other. My wife, even if she's not going nowhere, she'll dress up for me. And she'll put on everything, even though we're not going anywhere. And she wants to make sure she has a commitment that she'll look better out inside than she does outside. And then I always make sure that I, do the same thing. And because I know that a lot of folks, the smells, the laugh, the companionship, it really actually makes a huge difference to maintain a relationship for long term, because they know that that guy might give them A, B, and C or whatever, but she knows that we have friendship, we have real true friendship, and I think that's one of the things on top of the values that keeps us sustainable.
Yeah, ladies, we don't want to see the bonnet every night.
I'll add to what has been said. Just on the intimacy piece, I just think 29 years, that's the same person, but keep the love alive, and just gotta love on each other, even when you may not want to, but ideally you go through those different seasons. And if you hold sacred all of the things the brothers have shared, But I think one core aspect is making sure that you love it on each other. And however that looks like, feels like. So that, and then the other piece I'll just say is being able to, and I'll just say kind of flush the toilet, so to speak. If it's not the one straw that broke the camel's back, it's all the other things that if we haven't communicated, they just add up. They add up. And then that one thing, what really wasn't all that, then has you saying something you really didn't mean, but it's caused trauma because you weren't able to communicate and let it go. So I'd say in the spirit of, as things happen in your relationship, being able just to flush and then let that shit go. Excuse my language, but and that for me just took time because I would hold on. I was okay, I'll remember that. And then that stuff adds. So I just say the ability, yeah, to communicate, love on each other, and then let that go. And keep the bigger picture, the bigger picture.
Yeah, because you can't keep bringing up old arguments if you really said you got over something.
That's right. Exactly.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. So real, so real. Jordan, bringing up the rear.
I'm still the newbie here, so to sustain is something I can't really speak on. But what I can say is choosing the right person in the first place is probably the best thing you could do. You know, I got married at 40, so I already knew myself, so I was able to choose. Like I know you guys got married at 20. I have no idea how you guys did that. I would have fallen apart if I got married at the 20 something. But at 40, I knew myself already, so I knew who I am and who I wanted to be with, and I found that person. So I'm approaching year two is almost done, but I think this will be a long. This better be a very long term thing.
You got this, Jordan. I
Yeah.
believe it. We support it. And it's a it's been a blessing because Jordan has been in my life for well over a decade, and so it has been beautiful to see you enter this next phase. So, well, thank you everyone for being here. Real quick, rapid fire. If anyone in our audience wants to stay connected with you or catch up with you, Instagram titles, what do you want the people to know to stay in touch with you?
For me, it's just a J underscore ED underscore words. So J Edwards, yes.
And I'm Rocky the Comic on all your social media. THE, Rocky the Comic.
And I am Black Think Tank Community on all social media platforms besides Threads. We are spelled Black is spelled BLK. But we are primarily on LinkedIn. So see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard. That's the Clubhouse family right there. And had the opportunity to have many insightful conversations. And thank you for having me a guest on your platform, Richard and Chris.
Yeah, Chris Chapman at LinkedIn, otherwise Baba Chris at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Kingmakers of Oakland on all social media platforms. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. Thank you for sharing your stories, your love, your insight. Thank you just for being a part of the America's Hot Sauce tribe. It has been a pleasure, and we look forward to having you back as we continue to do the work to ensure that 1 billion Black people, Black families, and Black communities thrive. Thank you, gentlemen. Good night, everyone. Well, actually, no, not good night. Good night, panel. But we want to say, anyone, Kashaya is going to drop in the chat. Everyone, please give a round of a hand for Kashaya. She is just awesome. She's awesome, awesome, awesome. She's now going to drop in the YouTube chat. Anyone who wants to join the Zoom, I'll stay on for a few minutes for some Vibe and Tribe, and you'll get a chance to just go ahead and pop in. And but if anyone who has to depart, thank you again for your time and attention tonight. You can find me at Vernita Adele on social platforms. We are building out at America's Hot Sauce. You can tap in. Make sure you get your merch at americashotsauce.club. Our Juneteenth sale is still going on. Use that promo code Summer 2025. That's capital S, Summer 2025. in order to get 20% off your entire order between now and June 19th. Excited, join the listserv. We'll have more. We're doing a virtual event once a quarter. So this is the second one of 2025. You can also find me at different parts of the country. I'll be doing 2 vending events, one in Brooklyn and one in New Jersey this month around Juneteenth. And then, of course, this is a community. This is a hub. We look forward to continuing to grow. We not only think about Black people thriving, but it's on all cylinders: physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, culturally, and in our relationships, as we discussed tonight, in our environments. And we look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure.
Excellent.
Thank you, Queen. Right on, Kings. Take good care.
All right, guys.
Good evening.
Thank you.
I'm stick around.
All right.
Hey, also, you guys, stay blessed, stay safe.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Marsha.
Likewise, thank you
And
so
keep
much.
God
Thank you,
first. I
Jordan.
didn't
Let me
put
give a
that in
shout out
there.
to a few folks that are on the YouTube. I see Kashana. Kashana and I went to high school together. Shout out to Marsha. Shout out to Mariah. I see Cam. I see Coco came in the room. It's awesome. I love the chat. The chat was live. Okay, Kashaya, do we have anyone that is popping in for America's Hot Sauce Vibe and Tribe? We just got to drop our Zoom link in the chat. Oh, hey,
I
Eileen.
don't see anyone. Hopefully the chat does want to come in and join us. Come on, y'all.
Did you put the Zoom link in the chat?
I did.
I'm gonna do it again.
No problem.
Okay, everyone, the Zoom link is in the chat. If you want to pop in, if you have any thoughts, if you have anything you want to share, any feedback from tonight, feel free to pop in.
I see it there.
All right. That looks like we are wrapping up tonight. Again, thank you, Jordan. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Kish. Oh, okay, wait. Let's see. Look, I'm about to go too fast. Hey, Camila. Hey, Camila. Actually, Kashai, do you mind taking off my spotlight?
Yes, no problem.
Oh, I could do it. Hey, Camila.
Hey, Camilla.
Hi, sorry. I didn't have my on. My mic
No
was
worries.
muted. But hi, how are you guys doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for hopping in.
I'm
How did
glad.
you
I'm glad I
enjoy
was
the
able to.
how did you
It was
enjoy
very
tonight's
good.
program?
It was good. It was very informative, and I really sometimes you're not aware of like how men might, men that have positive outlooks on certain things. And so like it's good to see that there are not only men, but like definitely couples that have like been able to go through their own things and still come out with a good, outlook and path for other people to kind of like follow in. So
Absolutely. Yes, I think that this is also was like a very special group curated to have these conversations tonight. And we tried to touch on a few different topics that we didn't touch on in the last version of Black Love is the Revolution. So there's always an opportunity to hopefully everyone to kind of take something away that they didn't already know about or hadn't already heard of.
yeah, I really
And
enjoyed
I
it.
haven't forgotten. I know we're trying to get together.
Yes, I know. But yeah,
And I
we'll
love it.
definitely
Your package is on the way. Thank you for
I
your order,
saw
Black Queen
the
Thriving.
information. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna have that on this summer.
Yes.
But yeah, I know we have a lot of catch up to do.
Yes. Indeed, indeed. And then I saw Lawrence, but it looks like Lawrence must have popped off.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is also new. This is what I will say is the power of building. We are trying different things, trying different formats. So I will see. So our last event, we had everybody on the Zoom. This time we had everybody live stream, and then you could join the Zoom. So I think we're gonna keep playing around with it, but always want to give an opportunity for people to
Right,
raise their
right.
voice.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But I definitely still like was glad to be a part of that and definitely look forward to what you have in store.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Camila. Thank you for joining us tonight. Again, thank you, Kashaya. Again, shout out to everybody who joined. Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead. I didn't cut you off.
Oh, no, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you, everybody who tuned in on the live stream. We will have I'm excited to cut up some sound bites, but the live stream will be available to play back. This was just a really awesome night. So again, America's Hot Sauce, because Black people are America's Hot Sauce. I am Bernita Adele, the founder of America's Hot Sauce, and we look forward to continuing to ensure our belief that Black people thriving. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.